Hello, everyone. I think we're about to start here, guys. You can come in and have a seat. So just a couple of housekeeping issues really quickly. My name is Stephen Ruiz. I'm the Director of User Experience for Agentes Consulting. I'm from Los Angeles, and we have our first speaker of the day today, who John and I have traversed the user experience landscape of Los Angeles for some time now. And he's quite a guy. He's got some interesting stuff he's going to tell you today. But there's some stories, as you can imagine. There's some stories with John and I, and he's a great guy. We've had some adventures, and I think his shirt kind of says it all. Could you show him your shirt, John? Go ahead. There's no online tutorial for being a badass. That is kind of the summation of how I can describe John. He does it better than I can. But just really quickly before we get started, though, I have a couple of announcements. So first of all, who here is on Twitter? Can I get a quick show of hands? On the Twitter, okay. Everybody take out your mobile device. Take out your phone, take out your iPad, if you're on a laptop, pull up Twitter, and I want you to do me a favor and go to UX Strategies. Find it, follow it, love it. Everything that's going on in the conference right now is somehow directly tied to that. You'll get announcements. There's also an ongoing podcast where I'm interviewing some of the speakers that are here. Some really, really good content that's not being fully utilized. Check it out. So, okay, again, John is the Director of Experience Design for OpenX. Personal friend of mine, great guy. Everybody, this is Jon Fox.
Thank you, Stephen. Can everyone hear me? Good. So the first thing that I want to say is that I do not recommend drinking 4 whiskeys the night before your talk. So if you're going to do that...
Is that too little or too much?
Huh?
Is that too little or too much?
Well, I guess it depends on who you are, right? Yes, so my name is Jon Fox. I am the Director of Experience Design at OpenX, which is in Pasadena, just outside of Los Angeles. And I am also the founder of a meetup organization that I'll get into a little bit later. Okay, so I'm here to talk about UX, but off the screen. We talk a lot here about, different interactions or design patterns or things like that. I'm really focused on how you can use UX beyond the screen and kind of use UX to transform culture and behavior. What's interesting that I found in listening to a lot of the talks yesterday is that there's actually a lot of overlap. A lot of people have touched on a lot of the similar things that I'm going to talk about. I actually think that's a really great thing. There's a zeitgeist happening where changing corporate culture through design is making a real impact, and it's really changing how business is done. But in all the talks that we've had, I really haven't heard a lot about how doing this will make you into a hero. And if you do this right, if you really focus on how to change culture and how to really make a difference in your company way beyond your department, you will become a hero. So I'm here to make you into heroes. But the first thing I need to do is kind of tell you who I am. So I grew up in New York. I promised some people that I would use this map. You're welcome. So I grew up in New York. First 18 years of my life, I lived in New York, just outside of New York City. And I moved to Los Angeles, and I went to film school. I was going to be a filmmaker. What's surprising is that I've learned that my role in user experience has really drawn on a lot of the things that I learned in film school. There's a lot of relationship. So while I was in film school, I got an internship to build something called a website. This sort of dates me a little bit. I didn't know what this was, but sure, why not? And the website that I worked on was the first official Star Trek website. So I did a lot of content around spaceships and aliens and planets and met all sorts of really interesting folks, and I have a lot of really funny stories. I'm not going to tell them now, you'll have to find me later. Shortly after, though, I moved away from Star Trek into our partner site, which was Entertainment Tonight, and I did a lot of, I kind of ended up running the daily production of Entertainment Tonight's website, which was also super cool, and I met a ton of celebrities and went to amazing events like the Oscars and concerts and all sorts of stuff, but the pay was shit, so I didn't stay. I stayed a few years, but I ended up moving on in my career. I worked at a lot of consulting firms and agencies for probably better part of 10 years, and now I work exclusively in product. I prefer product a lot. There's just more opportunity to focus, to create, process, and to really dive deep into a true user experience. I've also worked at tiny little startups making social networks and mobile apps, and I've worked at giant companies like Live Nation. I've been the UX team of one, and I've worked on teams doing everything from marketing collateral all the way up through product design. So I've seen a lot of different relationships to how UX and kind of companies kind of work together. I've seen what works, I've seen what doesn't work. I've worked at a lot of companies where UX was completely ignored, and there was very little that I could do to make a difference, where CEOs only believed that the U in user experience was themselves. I'm sure that some people in this room have similar experience. So now I work at OpenX, and UX has a seat at the table. It is a key part of our product strategy, and it is highly valued. OpenX is in ad tech, and who here knows what ad tech is? Yeah, that's what I thought. You guys all interface with ad tech every single day. Ad tech basically determines what ads you see on the internet, when and where. The way I like to see it, think about it, is that all the free content that you enjoy, that we all enjoy, well, it has to get paid for somehow. So, and targeted advertising is actually a much better thing than not targeted advertising, because if there was not targeted, you wouldn't get less advertising, you would just get shitty advertising. So, we are part of an insanely complicated B2B industry that is largely powered by sales and engineering. The usability of pretty much all of our competitors, which, by the way, includes Google, sucks. But we now are aiming to make a real difference, and UX is part of our core strategy. Yes, this is my team. We're actually, it's 3/4 of my team. We now have one more. So, but we're big Lego enthusiasts, because Legos are a big part of B2B design. So the question is, why is a 7-year-old enterprise company so excited about user experience? Why is it such a big driver of everything that we're doing? Well, the reason is because I transformed it from the inside out. I've worked very hard to make sure that design and design thinking is part of everything that we do from now on. And the only way I could do that was through a number of different strategies. And I'm going to go through a lot of those strategies today. See, I've seen all types of relationships to UX in companies, and I saw an opportunity, and I've been given an opportunity. So what I want to talk to you about today are 10 things that I've done that you all can do as well in your companies to take user experience beyond the pixel and change the culture. So the first one is small wins. Start small, build trust. With every little project, you can do more and more, and you can grow. Whether redesigning a small piece of the UI, or modifying a graphic, or changing just a key piece of branding material, you can earn little bits of trust. If you can find those little tiny but strategic pieces and show value in design, especially in areas where nobody's looking, you might have to work on this big workflow. But over here is this little thing that nobody really is paying attention to, but boy, it would be much better if that was changed. If you could just do that, it will make a huge difference. I found that it is much better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. So start changing little things. It will grow and grow and grow, and you will show the value. 2, design out in the open. I know a number of people have touched on this. Paul, in particular, went into this quite a bit the other day. Design is kind of like playing in a band. You need an audience, and you need collaboration. The best way to show people what you do is to include them in the process. So talk freely about design with everyone. They likely don't know anything about it. They have no idea what design is. They don't know what good design is. They don't know what bad design is. They just know it's the way it is. But if you talk about it and you're passionate about it, they'll be interested. And if you make your work visible in an open space, people will naturally get involved just by walking by. We've seen this time and again. See, everybody likes pretty pictures, and it's a great way to motivate people about the future. The key is that design is a social activity. It needs to be socialized. 3, create design principles. This one actually was surprising to me because I honestly never really fully saw the value. It seems I read everybody's design principles, they're all kind of the same. Be simple, be clear. But design principles make a huge difference. They are your North Star. They really show you that you're on the right road. And if they are specific and measurable, and they are drawn from research, then, like any tool in your arsenal, they can empower anyone on your team to execute their own materials. And you can use design principles in your critiques. They will help you to guide you to make sure that you're doing the right thing, that you're staying true and you're staying focused. And this is crucial as you go beyond the interface. Good design principles help you to say no. And that's one of the most important things as a designer you can do, is say no and keep going. So speaking of saying no, 4 is have an opinion. And make sure your opinion is tied to those principles and to the values of your company. Otherwise, you're in for an uphill battle. But when you have an opinion, share it, speak it, and inspire others with your opinion. And if people disagree, defend it. It's yours. It's yours alone. Fight for it. If you really believe in something, fight for it. And find advocates and convert them. Then have them defend your beliefs so that you can go back to designing and you don't have to fight those battles anymore. If your company doesn't have an established vision or mission statements, that's a really good place to start. One of the key things that I've learned over the last few months, I've taken on a new role where I'm not only focused on the product design, but I'm now focused on our brand as well. And one of the things that has been key in my strategy here, and has taken quite a bit of discipline, is knowing the difference between being a champion and being a guardian. I've always been a guardian, right? And I think that a lot comes from my film school background, kind of being able to tell what movies are good and what movies are bad and whatnot. But it's a very subtle but very key difference. A champion speaks positively and sees opportunity in everything. See, being a champion is about listening and being empathetic and speaking to that. There are ways to champion bad ideas out of existence. So if you really hate something that somebody wants to do, you can still champion it and make it go away. Be appreciative of those ideas. Acknowledge the reasons behind them. And then provide alternate solutions for execution. See, being a guardian is being defensive. And if you're defensive, that means someone else is offensive. And that creates debates, and debates don't help. So don't be negative even if you disagree. You will find partners and you will find advocates. And that's what you need to succeed. 5, build the best team and be a team player. So a big part of this is hiring. So the thing with hiring is you have to be patient. Usually when you're hiring for a new position, it's because you need somebody right now. You have a project and you need it done and no one else is going to do it, so you need somebody right now. Problem is that hiring the wrong candidate now will cause all sorts of problems down the line. But if you're patient and you can wait for the right candidate, it will pay off. You will find a way to get things done while you're waiting for the right candidate. This strategy has paid off so much for me. I have the best team. I love my team. They are amazing, and it took a lot to hire them. And they like to dress up. This was my birthday. They pranked me on my birthday, and they converted my entire desk into the Starship Enterprise because of my first job as on the Star Trek website. So, with the right team, you can trust them to get things done, so you can expand your scope of influence. I'm not that involved in the day-to-day operations of our product design anymore. I'm playing with other toys in other sandboxes because I trust them and they are doing a tremendous job. Part of the reason that we have that trust is that I have created an environment of transparency. So being transparent and letting them in on what's going on earns that trust. And then likewise, I am trusted. Also, creating pairs. Having designers work hand in hand to solve a problem is key, but also matching designers up with engineers across the whole process makes an incredible difference. It really gets things done faster. And the last point on this is, especially for all you senior folks, mentor as much as possible. Really, we need more of you. So please mentor. Find people that you find that have the talent, are willing to learn, and mentor them, help them. We really need that. 6, this is actually my favorite one. Walk. Go outside. Exercise. If you have a one-on-one with somebody and you don't need to look at your screen, and chances are you don't need to look at your screen, you can do a design critique some other time, go outside. Have your one-on-ones walking, get fresh air and stretch and be people together, humans. This will strengthen your working relationship. There are times that things are going to get difficult. But if you are people together and you understand and have a good relationship together, you will be able to combat those challenging times much easier. And not to mention, you'll break up your day, you'll feel better, and you will get much closer to your exercise goal on your Fitbit. So, really, go outside. If you've been inside all day until and then it's like dark out, that doesn't do anybody any good. Really, go outside. 7, build relationships. Include partners and stakeholders across your entire company in design conversations. Don't expect an innovative culture. Build a culture that welcomes, encourages, and most of all, retains it. This is where strategic partnerships help. So you need to build a team outside of your team. A lot of times, especially managers, are so focused on their team that they don't see kind of like what they need to do outside of their team, right? Even in soldiers, right? There's a battalion, and then there's the other battalions around them, and everybody needs to know what everybody's doing, right? It's key that you have people who are outside of your own team that are fighting your battle. Whether it's engineering, which is crucial if you want that super cool interaction to make it into the sprint, you better have some advocates in engineering. In business, if you want to alter an antiquated workflow that's always been there and nobody's doing anything about it, especially good for small wins, you need partners there. And especially execs. If you want UX to truly be part of the roadmap, you need execs on your team. So build strategic relationships. Go to lunch with these people. Get out of your comfort zone. It will make all of the difference. Number 8, this is also one of my favorites. Broadcast culture. Get involved and advocate for activities in your company. Your users are people, so are your coworkers. Be in their space and empathize. And then create a platform to broadcast all the cool things you are doing. OpenX has a Twitter account. We have a Facebook account. They're largely focused on ad tech. If you're not in ad tech, you're not going to follow them. You won't even understand what they're talking about. Hell, I don't understand what they're talking about all the time. But I created this. I created an Instagram account called Life at OpenX. Our Instagram account is entirely about culture. It's entirely about all the cool things that we do as people. And this has made an enormous difference in morale and in recruiting. Since starting this, I've interviewed countless candidates who say that they have looked us up on Instagram and they get a real sense of the kind of company and the kind of people that work at our company. We also have offices all around the world. This has been a great way to link those offices and for people to understand what's going on. Oh look, there's the people like going out for drinks in London. Oh look, there's the awesome publisher retreat in Colorado. Look, we had a Star Wars party. You know, all of this stuff has really made a huge difference, and it creates an environment where people want to come work for us. We're taking the culture outside of our walls. So people really want to share about our work. And it makes people want to work there. This has been one of my easiest and biggest successes. See, working together and sourcing the best talent is a lot more than smart people, ping pong games, and Nerf battles. Pretty much every company has them, at least that I've been seeing lately. You need to show why your culture is awesome. If it's not, well, there's a good opportunity for some small wins. Get involved. Be a leader in your local community. Don't just attend meetups, create them. I started an organization called NILO, which is Northeast LA UX. We say it's French, because you can't say it, so NILO. You know, LA is a very vast and sprawling city. There's a huge UX community. A lot of it's focused on the west side in Santa Monica, but there's a huge talent pool in the east side. And those east siders don't want to drive all the way to the west side to go to a networking event because it just takes too damn long. We saw an opportunity and started this organization, and it was easy. We started small. We created little happy hours at local pubs, had a nice patio, good beer. 80 people showed up. Like, it was sort of like we tapped on the ground and oil just came out. And we built it up to having huge events with over 500 people at local schools with some of the biggest names in user experience and design. Twitter is surprisingly effective at doing this. It's amazing how you can just reach out to these people and get them to suddenly come and speak. And when you get on the map, suddenly you have companies that want to give you money to do this. It's kind of amazing. It's really simple. And when you do this, you can, you suddenly become somebody that people want to talk to. People seek you out for this. It doesn't take a lot of effort. And then you can use your company to sponsor or host events, which is great for recruiting. It enhances the company and its place in the community, and it builds buzz. And finally, UX everywhere. This is one of my core philosophies on design. Anywhere where your brand and your customer meet is UX. So you need to infiltrate all the areas of your company, whether it's marketing or recruiting or social or sales. This is all user experience. It's not just the interface. Use research, use ethnography, empathy, design. Make an impact and fix what's broken. If you see something is broken, fix it. When I started, our Twitter account was awful. Like it seemed like nobody was really manning it. We'd send out a tweet like a week. It wasn't effective at all. So one of the things I did is I started a fake Twitter account where I was just following our company and all of our competitors, that's it. Just to show the difference between what we were doing and what everybody else was doing. Once people saw that, it changed things. Took me about 10 minutes. Made a big point. Fix what's broken. And especially for those people who are working at B2B companies, and that's what this slide kind of alludes to, humanize everything. Earlier in the deck, I showed a design for new business cards. I don't hand out our OpenX business cards because they suck. I've hated them from day one. We're finally changing them, and one of the things that we're doing to change them is we took really great, kind of unique, very human portraits of everybody. And everybody's card is going to have their face on the back. Right, but not in like a cheesy real estate broker kind of way, but like in a cool design way. Because you go to conferences like this one and you meet 30 people, and then you're like, wait, who was that person? But if you actually have a human element on it, then you can make that connection and you remember who you spoke to. Potential talent, customers, decision makers, buyers, marketers, they're all human beings. You need to appeal to them. You can do this through branding, through design, messaging, social, and more. These are all things that can be controlled with the tools of user experience. All right. So why did I tell you all this? Why does it matter? Why take UX beyond the interface and into your life? Well, first of all, it's your life. You spend more time at work than anywhere else, except for maybe sleeping. You should make it as awesome as possible. And by doing this, you will be valued, you will earn a seat at the table, and you will have power. See, UX is not yet fully valued in a lot of places, and it's not fully understood at all. But by transforming culture, you can earn the ability to do whatever you want on the product. But it's bigger than the screens. It's about experience. UX designers facilitate experience. That's what we do. We have the tools, we have the creative power, we have the knowledge. More than anyone else in our companies, we have the ability to do that. If we can design the best interface for our users, we can create the best experience for our company. And when we do, we can be heroes.
We can be heroes. We can be heroes.
Okay guys, do we have any questions for Jon? Anybody? I mean, the music's nice. I like the music too. It's a good, I've never done Q&A with music. It's kind of nice. If it's dance, anybody?